Hi all, welcome to Selenium with Java October 21 batch online training session 7. So in the first 6 session I think I already covered the basic advanced Java and also the basic Selenium WebDriver part, like how to deal with different kind of field or locators. It can be edit box, radio button, checkbox, right? How also the drop down box, right? How to create the XPath and CSS selector. What are the different element locator techniques available? So today I will try to cover the remaining area for the Selenium WebDriver, like how to handle the frames, how we can capture the screenshot, what is implicit and explicit weight, right? What is headless browser testing? What is the importance of by all locators in Selenium WebDriver? How you can select an option from auto suggestive drop down, and how to handle the cookies. So in normal web page you already seen, right? In case, right, there is a drop down radio button, you can automatically identify the element locators, and then you can proceed with the execution, right? And but here the problem is that in case if the frame is there, so you until you handle the frame, right, you will not able to identify the object, or definitely in case you are not able to identify it, right, it is not possible you right to proceed further. So that is the problem. Okay, so what is frame? How you can get to know that frame is available in the web page or not? So frame is nothing but it's a kind of web page which is embedded in another web page, or an HTML document embedded inside another HTML document. Just like the, if you go to a flat, right, so inside the flat there will be a lot of rooms will be available, so just kind of stuff. So until you access the flat, right, how can you be accessing the room? And until you accessing the room, right, how you can get all the details from the room? So that's why you need to go to that particular frame, then you can identify all the element. The frame is often used to insert content from another sources such as advertisement into the web page. The frame tag specifies in case the frame is present or not in the web page. So whenever you are dealing with the frame, right, user cannot detect the frame by just seeing the page. So how you can do it? So definitely you need to just right click on that page, right? So there will be some option called reload frame. Otherwise you need to press F12 button, just like for inspecting the element, and then you need to search with iframe word. So in case it is giving some options, then you can get to know that some frame is available in the page, and then you need to handle the frame first. After that you can proceed with that remaining identification of the element, and definitely once identification is completed, you can definitely do the all the operations. Also you can get the size, how many frame is available in the web page, with the help of iframe tag. So just if I go to a web page, right, jQuery web page, so if you are normally able to see it, you will not able to identify. Sometime it is visible kind of other page you can identify is it, but sometime it is not, you easily able to identify the frame is available or not. So if you right click here, you could see here option called reload frame. So that means some frame is available. But if you go to normal web page, right, and if you right click, so that options will not be available, means in that particular page there is no frame available. If you go to the Facebook page, if you right click here, that option is not available, reload frame. So that is the one option you can easily identify that the frame is available or not. So here outside that you can see there is no frame available, but if you click here inside the options, the frame is available, right? So that is the one options. Apart from that, you need to press F12 button from your keyboard, right? So if you press it, and then if you control F, and if you type iframe, also it will give you some option, right? You can see that one of one is available, means some frame is available with that iframe tag. So that specify you that some frame is available. So let's see how we can handle the frame, right? So you could see here there is an options available, right? Drag and drop, right? So this is the page. After that, if there is an option called drag, and I can drop it here. Okay, so let's try to identify these two elements. First let's open the web page. Okay, so I already created a class called Selenium session 7 for today's class, and I already set the properties for the WebDriver. I am launching the Chrome driver, maximizing it, and I am giving some timeout. So anyway, I will cover it why we are giving the implicit timeout, what is the importance of explicit and implicit timeout in Selenium WebDriver, and then we are just opening an web page. That is the web page details I am giving. Then after that, if I suppose say I want to drag and drop, right, then what the problem will happen? Okay, so there are so many problem will happen. Anyway, the first thing is that you could see if you open the web page, right, so immediately that option is sometimes if you want to click it, it will not be available. So you already seen right in my last class that how we can scroll down little bit of the page, right. So here I need to scroll down vertically, otherwise this will not work. So let's try to do all the stuff. So you know that there is an interface available called JavaScript executor, right. So let's create a object or instance, Java script executor. Okay, so JAC, that is the object or instance. As the interface, we directly cannot create an object or instance, so we have to typecast driver here. So that's why we can typecast it, driver. Okay, then you need to import that JavaScript executor here. Okay, so it will be JavaScript executor. So we need to import it. Okay, JavaScript executor. Yeah. So we need to import that interface. Then we need to scroll down the page vertically, right? So you know that that is the
This object,
sorry.
what is the use of this JavaScript?
In the last session I already shown, right, you can scroll down the page so that automatically it will take the
Yes,
object,
yes.
right. Yes, suppose here if you open it, right, so that page maybe that object is not fully visible, so I saw that like it need to be moved down by 200 pixels, then automatically it will click that object and here and there paste it. So that is the reason you need to use that JavaScript executor, JAC dot I am not writing new, I think it's already covered here, execute script JAC JAC dot execute script. Why it is not coming? JavaScript executor, right? Yeah. Let me check that one. No, that is kind of wrong. Import has been done. I need to import the correct one. That is the reason it is not showing. Yeah, I need to import it from JavaScript executor, SCRIPT executor. 1 second. Yeah, it should be JavaScript executor and it should be from org or OpenCode Selenium package. Otherwise, again, you will not get all the options. So whenever you are importing it, there might be a lot of suggestion. As and when you will be working, right, you can get to know that which packages I need to import it, execute script, that option. Otherwise, that method will not come, right, because that package until you are selecting, then definitely you cannot get the method, right. So there is a method called window dot scroll by. I already discussed, I think last few weeks back, dot scroll scroll by method, that is the method name, and I need to give the axis, so x axis and y axis. So x axis is nothing, y axis I can give 200 pixels because I already know that this is the pixel I need to give it here, and so that is the option. I need to close it, yeah. So that is the part, so that it will be moved to the correct positions. Then I can create web element, suppose say source, means that web element I can easily identify source and that will be my target or destination. So let's me inspect the element, press F12 button here, and definitely with the help of ID, class name or name, I can definitely identify them. Let's place the cursor here. So here you could see that ID is draggable, right? So with the help of draggable ID, I can identify it. So web element source equal to driver dot find element, and then with the help of by dot ID, web element by dot ID, and I can give that ID here. So that's why I can identify the source element here. Let's try to import the web element class from the Selenium WebDriver. Okay, so I think that is perfectly fine. I need to close with one more bracket here. Yeah, then I can similarly I can go for the target one, which will be my target where I will be dragging and dropping. So that part I also am covering here, how you can drag and drop. Okay, and here let's try to identify it, what is the droppables items. Yeah, ID is droppable, so I can paste it here. So how can you drag and drop? There is an actions class available, action class available in Selenium WebDriver. Here there are a lot of functions available, drag and drop, through which I can drag and drop it, right? So let's create a object for actions class equal to new actions, and here I need to give the driver reference. So that is the options for creating an object or instance for the actions class. So I need to import it also from the Selenium WebDriver, right? So this is the org.openkey.selenium.interaction packages. Then after that, if I use that object reference for the action class, then you could find some method called drag and drop, right? You can see web element source, web element target. Definitely I can give it source and target. Okay, because I am dropping it from source and placing it to target. Then I need to use some more method, right? Dot build here and dot perform. So that's why you can drag and drop. Okay, so that is the options I am trying to write down here. So let's try. I mean, I'm repeating it. So I'm opening the page, then I am moving the page down vertically by 200 pixels, and I am identifying the source and target here, right? And then with the help of actions class, I am dragging and dropping it. Let's try to run the code and let's see whether it's running successfully or not. So definitely it will not successfully run because I did not handle the right iframe, right, or the frame. So definitely, yes, I mean my code will not able to identify the source and target element, web element, right? So definitely it will fail it. Let's try to run it and then you can understand the importance of the frame. So in case there is any frame available and either you are not handling the frame, you will not able to succeed your code, right? You will not able to proceed or you are not able to click. So definitely page will be opening, it will be moving down vertically the page by 200 pixels, but the source and target is not able to identify it, and definitely, right, you can see it is not able to identify a drag and drop is not happening, right? So it is not happening and your code will fail, and you can get to know here. Okay, so anyway it did not throw the error. So in case I am okay, you could see a error came. Okay, so find element, whatever you want to find it, it is not happening. Okay, so if I run it, maybe I just disconnected it forcefully. If you run it once more time, you can get to know the exact error for that particular code, lines of code. It might take some time to load the page because lot of things is there. Anyway, you know, right, any kind of pages where like frame is there, it might take some time to load it. Okay, so that is the reason we should give some timeout so that page will fully load. Otherwise we should give some explicit wait to identify the element properly, but it will not happen. Okay, the page will also not quit, and also the actions will not happen. So let's see the error. Okay, still it is working. It is trying to identify it. Okay, now its error gone, error came, sorry. Okay, so let me close it. You can see the error here. Okay, that is the error, right? Kind of it will not able to identify it. So if you go through all the error, you can get to know where the error is coming, right? You could see the page number 26 means that is the error, that is the part, right? Java Selenium session error is coming at the page number 20, sorry, line number 26. So it is not able to identify it, right? Remote WebDriver, all these things is happening here. So driver command execution, all this stuff. So if you just validate it, right, completely, so because of it is not able to identify it, then how can you handle the frame, right? So then definitely before identifying the element, I need to go to the frame, right? So that I can easily handle the frame. So before that, let's comment out this part for now, and let's see how many frame is available here in the page, right? So even before also I can here also I can go to the frame here. So how can you go to the total number of frame, you can get to know. So driver dot find elements, okay, because it will be find elements, not the element, where I will be recognizing it with the help of, right, kind of there are so many attributes, right, just like that anchor tag, similarly iframe tag, tag name. I will identify the element with the help of tag name. So that is the reason elements is required. So by dot tag name, and here I will be giving it iframe, right? So tag name I will be giving it iframe. Okay, and then dot size, that is the method, right, where I can easily get, you can see the return type is integer, right? So I can get the return type as integer. Okay, so I can take my return type as integer. So I will be creating a variable called integer, frame, variable name is frame size. Okay, that's why I can get the size here. So now if I want to print the total number of frame availables, so you can get it. So let's try to run it and let's see how many frame is available there. So definitely it's only one frame, because I am identifying the frame with the help of frame iframe tag. Okay, so I'll be showing you once more time, so no need to worry, because you'll be getting everything from the page. You no need to remember even everything. Some of the lines of code definitely you need to remember how to handle the frame. Apart from that, I think it's fine that you can get the tag name easily. So anything starting with input, right? It's input tag, like anchor tag, src tag, image tag. Similarly, iframe is also tag. So with the help of tag name, I am identifying how many element is available in the page with that similar tag name. So because in case I want to get the number, so definitely it will be find elements method, not the find element. Let's wait for some time to load the page. Okay, so you can definitely get to know how many pages available here. So it will give you that number is 1, right? It is giving you the number is 1. Let's close it here, and if you want to know here, you could see here the tag name for that particular frame is starting with iframe, right? So I already searched with that iframe here. So if I press Ctrl F again, iframe, so that is the tag name. You could see that particular thing is coming with iframe tag name, right? So that is the reason I am selecting its iframe. Okay, I am trying to get all the element. So how we can select a frame? So there are 3 options, right? There is a method switch to available, okay, and then I can give either the frame number or the frame ID or the web element reference, through which I can identify the frame, then I can interact with the frame, and then can definitely whatever element available within the frame I can definitely get perform all the operations. So these are the three options available: numbers, or the ID, or the frame and element, right? So definitely ID, it is starting with 0, so here only our number is starting with 0, right? So it is only one frame, so it will be 0, right? So 0 1 2 3, everything in Java is starting from 0 only, right? So now let's comment out this page, because it is not required, so you will already get to know the frame size here. So now how can you interact with the frame? So it will be nothing but driver dot switch to method dot switch to methods, and then dot, you can press frame. You can see there are lots of options available. Either it's integer argument, right? That is the ID of the frame, or name of the frame, or the web element reference, right? So then I can give the reference as 0. So that is the one options. Right now, if you execute your script, let's remove the commented part here, and you could see that drag and drop will be happening here. So that's why I can handle the frame. In case name is not available, definitely I can go with the ID or the other frame or element reference. In case name is there for the frame, I can go with the frame name. So sometimes name will not be available, you have to deal with other way. So anyway, these are the three options available to handle the frame. Whatever is available, you can perform it. You could see drag and drop is happening, right? Drag me to the my target is moving to the drag droppable part, right? So it is happening, it's working, the operation is working. So here I have tried to cover few parts here. One is opening the web page, second is kind of movement, right? Pixels movement, vertical movement, vertically movement by 200 pixels. Then I am handling the frame with the help of ID, right? And then I am with the help of actions class, I am dragging and dropping the frame. So that is the one option, right? How to handle the frame with the help of ID. In case something other thing is available, right? You could see for the frame there is no name option is available, only class is available. So with the help of class name also I can identify the frame, right? Let's try to identify the frame with the help of class name. So how we can do it? So driver dot switch to, same thing will be there, driver dot switch to dot, and you need to give the reference of the frame, and here I can give the web element reference, right? So here what will the argument? Argument will be driver dot find element by dot class name, by dot class name. So what is my class name of the frame here? So this is my class name here, right? That is the class. So with that reference also I can identify the frame easily. Okay, let's try to close the bracket, and now let's run the codes again, and let's see whether it's working or not. So either it's name or kind of reference or the ID. These are the three options available to handle the frame. Once you handle the frame, then definitely whatever object or element will be there within the frame, you can identify them and you can perform the respective operation on those elements. You could see drag and drop is happening also here, right? So that's so you can perform the different operation for the frame. Okay, these are the three options available. One is ID or name, and another is the web element reference. Then I will be showing in the same context how to capture the screenshot. Why screenshot is required? So it is generic one. If you are working on the testing for so long, you already know, right? Capturing screenshot is very crucial for the testing, so, right? In case you are doing some execution, right, for your whatever test case is pass or failed, that does not matter. You have to capture the screenshot, right? So that you can certify your execution. In case you are not capturing the screenshot and you are passing it, sometime your respective leads or your test manager can ask for the evidence, or in case you are logging a defect without any evidence or screenshot, right, the developer will not agreeing, right, to accept the defect, right. So that is the reason it does not matter whether it's automation execution or the functional execution. So always from the testing side we should make the reference of the screenshot for our safeguard, as well as in case you are executing any of the test management cycle, right, test management tools, right, it can be Jira, ALM or Azure, right, Microsoft Azure, right, you should attach your screenshot whenever you are executing any test case, right. So primarily some of the possible scenario where user might need to capture screenshot is like application issue, assertion failures, difficulty to find element in the web page, right, sometimes timeout option, exception error, right. So definitely you need to keep the screenshot. It can be any format. Sometimes you can keep the screenshot Excel, right, Word document, or the format can be PNG, JPG, or JP. Okay, so that is the way, right. So how you can capture the screenshot in Selenium WebDriver? It's a 3 steps process, right. So there is a text screenshot interface is there. So whenever you are creating an object or instance, this you need to create a object by typecasting the driver here. So then you can call the get screenshot as method, right, to create an image file which provided by the text screenshot interface to capture the screenshot of the web page displayed in the driver object. Here this is the line of code you need to write here. So argument output.file specified in the get screenshot method, which will return the capture screenshot in the form of file, right. Therefore you can store it some of the source file, right. Then you can copy the screenshot to the source to the destination file. So that is the 3 important line you need to write it down whenever you will be capturing the screenshot. Okay, so let's see how we can capture the screenshot. So here, because definitely you should write the method for capturing the screenshot, because you will be calling it multiple times, right. I already mentioned in the Java class why the method is required, because in case you want to take the advantage of the method, you will be using it multiple times. So you should go for the method creation, right, and so that as and when required you will be calling the screenshot, I mean that method, right. So this is your class, and the class level you can create the screenshot here. So instead of that WebDriver driver here, right, so I'll be creating a global variables here, so which will be static in nature, so that I can call from anywhere, right. So here you can remove that part, because in I already make it static, so that within that particular class it will be accessible from anywhere. So that global variable I am declaring with the help of static method WebDriver, so that in case I am creating any method I can call the driver reference. In case I am using in the main method, I can also use them directly. Then I will be creating a method here, right. So let's try to create a method here which will be static, so that I can directly call it, right. So that is the reason whenever you are creating any method you can make them static, so that there is no need of creating the object or instance. So whatever topics I have tried to cover in the Java, will be using them, okay, going forward, right. Each and everything, public static void, because that return table nothing. And so let's give it the method name as take or capture screenshot. So that is the method name. So here I need to provide some reference web driver, that whatever I have given driver, and then I can use some file path, so which will be return type will be string, so string file path. So that is the true variable I am passing it here. So that's why I can create a method, right. You already know how to create the method. So this is the public return type static, so that it can be accessible anywhere. It will not return anything, so it is a void. This is the method name, and this is the argument, right. 2 argument I am passing it. So let's try to use them. Okay, so I am just will not be using anything. I will be simply copying the lines of code here, whatever I have written. So this is the first line here. Okay, so I need to import that text screenshot method here from the org.openk.selenium. Then the next line so will be that one. So I'll be storing in some source file with return type will be the file. So I need to import the file class as well as the output type from Java java.io. Then I need to go to that last one, right? So definitely whenever I am going to the last one, I need to define that destination file variable, right? Otherwise how I can access it? Okay, let's go. Are you able to hear me, guys? Are you able to see my screen? Some disconnection was happened.
Yeah, you got disconnected.
Yeah, okay, okay, let me share my screen. So is it visible now?
No. Yeah, now it is coming down.
Okay, okay. So that is the 3 lines of code I am copying from my PPT here, right? So first I am creating an object or instance for the text screenshot interface. Then I mean calling that get screenshot method, right? Get screenshot as methods, and I'm storing in some source file, and then source file I'm pasting in some destination file, and definitely destination file I need to store somewhere, right, before declaring it. So it will be file class, and that is my variable here, destination file, right, and that I'll be loading with the help of new file, and here I am giving that variable, sorry, that argument whatever I have given. So that's why I am matching it, right? So let's close this part and let's try to import that file handler, right? Destination file, okay, sorry, this file. Why error message is there? Okay, I need to surround with some declaration, because and in case you are using the file class, you need to surround with the exceptions or add a try catch block, right? So that's why I already created a method, okay, where I will be capturing the screenshot, right? Now if you want to take few screenshot here, right, so definitely after opening the page I can take a screenshot. So how can I get it? So you know, in case I already created the method as static, right, so directly I can use it without creating any object or instance. Otherwise I have to create an object or instance first. Dot capture screenshot, you can see the method is coming, right, where I need to pass the variables, right. So first will be driver reference, and then second one, right, I need to store where I want to store it, right. So it first put in the driver reference, and second one I can paste, I mean store, right, in somewhere. So it can be my D drive, right. So I can be my D drive slash, I can, let's me see which folder I can save it. So okay, so this is the folder I can save it, D drive dot slash selenium. Okay, and here I can give the file name as test123 like that, but definitely every times, right, you need to change it, right. So that is the reason I can concatenate it with the millisecond part, right. So just let's close it and let's concatenate it, plus system dot, I think there is a method called current millisecond, okay, yeah, current time millis. So automatically it will take that system time, right, and then I can again concatenate it, and definitely I can give that last part, right, either it's a PNG, JPG or JPEG format, right. So dot PNG, so that is the part, right. So that way I can capture the screenshot. So what is the problem is happening here, let's check it. So d dot selenium, here I can give already that one, D drive, and I closed it, system dot current second millis, right, dot png, and I am closing it already. So what's the problem is happening here, let's try to see. Okay, here I also surrounds with try catch block. I can throw some declarations, exceptions, okay, in the main class as well. Okay, so that's why I'll be capturing my screenshot here. Okay, and again after drag and drop is happening, again I will be capturing the screenshot, so you no need to change it, right? So after capturing the screenshot, you can again use the same line of code. That is the beauty of methods. Whenever any kind of method need to be repeatedly used, instead of hard coding it, you just try to just do some create the method, and definitely in case you are giving test 1, test 2 to 3, every time you need to be changed, otherwise it original file will be replaced, right? So if you give me the current millisecond, so in the millisecond format it will just save the screenshot. Okay, now let's run the code and let's see whether your code is running and screenshot is getting captured or not. So it is launching the Chrome drivers, Chrome browsers, maximizing it, entering the URL for the jQuery page. It will be loaded, and then hold down will be happening, right? And it will be going to that particular iframe, and drag and drop will be happening. And once the page is open, it will take the screenshot, and once the drag and drop is happening, also it will take the screenshot. So that's why you can verify your successfulness of your execution or the whatever script you have developed. Let's close it, and it's there is no error. And now if you go to your D drive, you could see there is a two PNG file created, right? So let's open it, and the time you could see 7:42. Let's try to open it any format, right? I can open with any format here, either pen format I can open it. So one is before, just after opening the page only. So you could see the screenshot is captured. One is drag and drop after happening, and another one, right, it will be after opening the page. So you can open with any format here, paint. So you could see it's just after opening the page. So in case you require multiple times, you can use it. So that is the beauty of the method, where you can definitely capture the screenshot. It can give you whether test case getting fail or pass. From the screenshot only you can get to know, right? So I have created the WebDriver interface or the object, which is static and global variable. So at the class level I have declared the global variable, so wherever I can use it anywhere, right, as is mentioned as global. And I am creating a method which is public in nature, static, so that I can use it without creating an object or instance. Return type is nothing, void, that is the method name, and that is the argument I am passing, right? And these are the lines of code I am using. So based on the argument, similar way, whenever I am calling that method, so I am just passing the driver in object, and then this is the path, file path, and I am calling it again after the drag and drop is happening. So that's why I will be capturing the screenshot. Okay, so here I am capturing the screenshot. I am just scrolling down, right, vertically 200 pixels. I am handling the frame with the ID, name, or any reference, relevant reference. I am dragging and dropping it with the help of actions class and the drag and drop options, and the build and perform the different methods, right? So any questions so far from these two topics? Is it fine? So you can play around this type, okay, but I don't think that it will be problem. So in case you are able to get the gist of the thing whatever I have discussed so far, it will be very easier for you to play around with all the options. Okay, you guys are able to hear me, right?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, cool. Okay, I think Lalon got dropped. I did not get any response from side also. Okay. Then implicit and explicit weight, right? Why this weight is required? So maybe in the interview people will ask differently question from these topics, right? One is the implicit weight, one is the explicit weight. What is the difference between two weight, right? Because sometimes you are seeing here, right, some of the web page, because of so many different, right, JavaScript, it might take some time to load the page completely. Okay, and in case you are not giving any wait time, right, your script will fail. Suppose in case it is taking 40 minutes time and you are not giving any time, so it will try maybe for 5 seconds, 10 seconds, and after that it will try to perform the operation, but page is not fully loaded, right? So your script will be failed. That is called kind of synchronization issue. That is the reason implicit and explicit wait, especially very important whenever you are dealing with any kind of specific web testing. Okay, so when a page is loaded by the browser, the element which user want to interact might take some time for complete load, as most of the web applications are developed using Ajax or JavaScript. It makes user difficult to identify the element, and in case element is found due to page load, it will throw an exception called element not visible exceptions. Okay, using wait you can solve the problem. Implicit wait is nothing but kind of default timeout you are giving at the page level. So it will wait for the complete page to be loaded. In case you are giving it 30 seconds, so it will wait for 30 seconds. After that, even it is still not found, then it will throw the error. So that is the wait we already used it, right? So you could see here in the script, right? We already used the implicit wait here, right? So that is the here implicit wait. Driver.manage.timeout.implicit wait. You can give that time unit here. So time unit dot second means second. So I am giving second. In case you are using minute, you can give it 1 minute. So that's why you can take it. But one drawback is there, right? So in case you are giving an implicit wait, it will wait definitely for that time, right? 1 minute time. So it will slow your execution sometimes. Okay. So implicit wait are used to provide a default waiting time between each consecutive step or command across the entire test script. Thus, the subsequent test steps should only execute when they have elapsed after executing the previous test step or command. The default setting is 0, right? So you can set anything, 10 second, 20 second, 30 second, 40 second, you can edit. So it will wait for the time, after that it will throw the error. Whereas explicit wait is specific to a condition. What are the conditions? I have brought it down in the next slide. So explicit wait is used to pause the execution until the time a particular condition is meeting or the maximum time has elapsed. So that is the important term of the explicit wait. Since suppose in case you have given some timeout 30 seconds, right? But in case your object is visible in 5 seconds, so it will immediately click and it will not wait for the remaining 25 seconds. That is the beauty of the explicit wait. So implicit wait will definitely wait for the time whatever you are giving it. But explicit wait, in case condition is matching before the total timeout, it will immediately proceed with the execution. It will not elapse the complete timeout or whatever you are giving. Okay. So explicit wait gives better option than that of an implicit wait, as it will wait for dynamically loaded Ajax. So that is the options. Okay. So you have to call WebDriver wait methods, right? You have to give the condition. So there are a lot of condition is there. And once the condition is matching, and that particular, suppose in a page you want to perform, you want to click on a link, so definitely you will really not bothered about whether your page is fully loaded or not. In case that option is visible, editable, and you are clicking it, you are able to proceed to the next step. So you can go to the explicit wait instead of implicit wait. So explicit wait can be used for the following cases: to find single web element, to find multiple web element, to check web page title and URL, to check web page status, to interaction with the frame sometime. Sometimes page might take some time to load it, right? So you can also wait for the explicit wait. So these are the different conditions you can check: whether the alert is present, element to be clickable, element to be selected, URL is matching, okay, text is present, matching, or text is that value is present, title containing something, element is visible, all this stuff. So that's why you can handle the explicit wait. So let's give me a simple condition here, right, for the explicit wait. Let's comment out this part. Okay, so I will be creating an object or instance here. So first let's create a object or instance. So in that web page only, right? So there are a lot of options available, right? So let's try to see whether that particular options event is getting enabled or not, so that I can click it, right? So you can see here this is a link, right? So I can highlight that with the help of text, link text. So let's create a web element here. Okay, so after opening the page, I'll be creating a web element. Which is nothing for the events link, that is the reference here, equal to driver dot find element by dot link text. So what is the text name here? So that is the text name here, because hyperlink link. So first I am identifying the element, right? Then what should I do? You could see here I need to create a WebDriver wait, right? I need to create an object for the WebDriver wait before that. So I will be creating a WebDriver wait here. WebDriver wait, that is the class. Okay, I will be calling it. So suppose say WebDriver wait, that is the, or maybe wait, that is the variable or object I am creating, equal to new WebDriver wait, and I am giving the reference driver and waiting time. So suppose say 30 seconds I want to give it. Okay, I need to import that WebDriver wait here from the Warrior Open Selenium support here. After that I will give some condition, right? So whatever web element I will be creating here, right? So I will be giving some condition. So web element, that is the option, so it will wait. So okay, instead of creating the web element, so it will wait for that options. Let's remove that part. Okay, I think that is not required here. So wait dot, you can give the condition. What is the condition? First you need to check until, and here you can give the condition. So after until you can give expected conditions, right? That is the syntax you need to use, right? WebDriver wait until, right? And that is the syntax here. Expected condition dot your condition. So whatever condition you want to check. Okay, so expected, you can control enter, so you can see expected conditions dot element to be clickable. Okay, you could see here a lot of options is coming, and you can get the web element reference here, element reference. So that is my element reference, right? So I think how many packet, 1 2, that is fine, cool. So I need to, okay, another thing I need to give it. Okay, so that's why I can check whether that option is clickable or not. As and when that option is displayed, right, with the link text event and clickable, immediately I can click on that options, right? Web element, whatever web element I am getting it, dot click. So I will only wait for that condition. So it will wait maximum 30 seconds, but in case that option is getting visible and enabled within 5 seconds, it will not wait for the remaining 25 seconds. It will immediately click on that option. So that's why you can give expected condition and dot the condition name and reference of the thing. So you could see that options will be clicking. As and when that option is getting loaded, it will not wait for the remaining page load, because it will only concentrate on the particular element locator. Okay, you could see it is still working. So you could see that open jfs.org page already open it, right? It is clicking on that options, event option, and all the event you can get to know. So that's why instead of loading for the full page, right, we can go for a particular specific condition and we can give expected condition dot whatever is condition we are checking, and based on the condition we can write our code. So it will, in case it is we are giving it 1 minute or 2 minutes, but in case the options is performing in 5 to 10 seconds, so it will maximum wait for the condition. Otherwise, as and when the condition is matching, it will not take the full time. That is the difference between implicit and explicit wait. Implicit wait, it will until wait for the complete time whatever you are giving it, but explicit wait, though you are giving the timeout, right, but still in case the actions is happening before that time, it will perform the actions within the time and it will not wait for the remaining time. So that is the main important difference of implicit and explicit wait. Then I will show you what is headless browser testing. So sometimes you need to use it, but primarily most of the time in case you are doing the testings on the nightly basis, so sometimes you can use the headless browser, or sometimes your browser is taking a lot of memory, right? So definitely you can use the headless browser testing, but what is the important things that your memory usage will be very very low compared to other browser, and definitely you will not able to visible your execution, right, but you can still get the desired result. That is the headless browser testing. So there are a lot of browsers available, you can make them headless, but one of the important browser is HTML unit browser, with which you can do the headless browser testing. So sometimes you need to perform the execution of the web element without opening a browser is called headless browser testing. The headless browser acts similar to the normal web browser. User have full control over the web page loaded into the headless browser. The only difference that user will not be able to see the graphical user interface, means the GUI part, whatever step is of opening, whatever page is opening, whatever options you are clicking, you will not able to see it, but you can get the result. So user have no options other than using headless browser when user machine does not have any GUI, right? So in case if you want to run it on Citrix Unix, right, so your browser will not be there in the Unix system, but you can go for the headless browser testing, and it will definitely consume less memory or less resources, right? In case if you want to get the result in faster speed, so definitely you can go for the headless browser testing, right? In case tester want to run the test case on the remote machine or server which does not have any browser installed, right, at all, so definitely in the browser is not installed, it might be problem to install it, or you need to get that relevant driver also, so you can go for the headless browser testing. Some of the example of the headless browser is HTML unit browser, Ghost, Phantom.js, Chrome, Zombie.js, Wait WebDriver. So definitely I will show you how we can do the headless browser testing with the help of HTML unit and the Chrome. So HTML unit driver is the lightest weight and fastest implementation headless browser for the WebDriver. It is based on HTML unit. It is known as headless browser driver. Sometimes interviewer will ask the question, what is headless browser driver? How can you do the driver? What are the different steps? It is same Chrome and Firefox, but it does not have any UI. So some of the important key feature I already provided here. It supports for cookies. It supports proxy server support, right? JavaScript support, right? You can get the support for HTML responses. This is the responses, and this is the syntax. WebDriver driver equal to new HTML unit driver. So before that you need to download it from the Google, right? First thing is that you need to download it, that driver, which is the HTML unit driver. If you type HTML unit driver from Google, you can download it easily and you can paste it, save it anywhere. After that you need to right click on the project, you need to go to the properties, right? Just you need to add the driver, that particular path in the Java build path, just like that, Selenium WebDriver standalone dependency. So I have added it. After that, so this is the only, there is no need to set any kind of path here. Okay, so let's comment it out here. So only thing is that you need to create a object or instance like WebDriver driver equal to new HTML unit driver. Okay, HTML unit unit driver, and then you need to install it, right? So automatically it will be added. Now you no need to wait, right, or maximize it, because you will not able to see the visualization here. So just you can get it, open the driver, and you can, if you want to get the desired result in the output, so you can go for that one, driver dot get page title here of the page, or you can go for the current URLs in the console, so you can see whether execution is happening or not. Driver dot get current URL, driver dot get current URL. So that's way only you can see whether your execution is happening, but you cannot visualize the execution, but you will get the desired result. Let's try to run it here. Sorry, I need to stop it here, otherwise it will create problem. So only thing is that there is no need to give any reference path, because you are already associating the driver in the your project. So WebDriver equal to new HTML driver. After that you can do whatever, you can open it, you can do whatever operation you want to perform, but you will not able to visualize the execution, but you can get the desired result. So that will take minimum memory, less memory, and it will also faster the execution. So that is the reason, right? Sometimes headless browser is played a pivotal role where there is no browser setup available, or sometimes the Unix machine, right?
Yeah, Hardhan.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a quick question. So in this scenario, can we take screenshots as well?
Yes, you can take a screenshot. Similar approach, but screenshot it will take. You will not able to see it, but it will take everything. Okay. You could see here that part is there, right? The UI and the current URL. So that is the one browser, HTML unit browser. Now next time, suppose say you are saying that I tried also for the Chrome, but other browser maybe can be possible, but did not try it. Only I have tried only HTML unit and Chrome also. So for the Chrome browser also you can do the headless browser testing. So how can you do that? I am letting you know what is the options. Okay. So first you need to set the properties here. Okay. Let's comment out these lines of code here, and here instead of creating the driver here, you can call a you can use the Chrome options class. Okay, so I'll be setting the path for the Chrome driver, then I'll be using Chrome option class, CHROME options. Okay, option, that is the class equal to new Chrome option. I'll be creating an object code instance for the Chrome option class. Okay, that is the part. So I need to import it, Chrome options. Yeah. The next thing is that I'll be using that options set headless. I think there's a method available. Let me check, called set headless. Set headless. Yes, you could see boolean. It is coming from the Chrome option class, and here you need to select true, so it will be headless. I mean, you will not able to see the visualization. Then I can create a WebDriver interface, driver object, WebDriver equal to new Chrome driver, and where you need to give that reference option. So that is the only difference. This is the 2 lines, 3 lines that make which is different. Otherwise, same thing. Okay, so here you will not able to see the UI, right, GUI of the execution, but it will give you the result. Let's try. I tried it long before. Yeah, it's working. You can see you are not able to visualize it, but your result is coming. So that is the only option. You can make it with the Chrome driver also, headless browser, but everything you will not able to visualize it, but no need to worry. Or the screenshot will be taken. You can try with that, right, and all your operation will be successful. but only difference is that you will not able to visualize. So definitely your execution will be faster, and definitely it will consume less memory, right? In case you are dealing with less RAM or less memory, you can go for the one. Then the next topic I will cover it, the importance of buy all locator in Selenium. So Selenium, right now you are only able to perform the operation with only one element locator. Either it can be ID, name, tag name, class name, link text, partial link text, CSS or XPath, right? But suppose say today you are dealing with ID and tomorrow your ID got changed, right? So you have to customize again. You have to maintain your code. You have to change the name or ID, right? So in the Selenium there is an option buy all locator, right? Buy all, where you can give multiple reference or element reference. So at the same time you can go give the class name, at the same time you can give right ID, at the same time you can give name or XPath all the time. So in case your one thing is not matching, it will go for the other. Suppose in case you are at the same time you are giving four thing, right? So it will first check the first one. In case it is not matching, it will go for the second one. In case it is not matching, go for the third one. In case it is not matching, it will go for the fourth one. In case four of the thing is not matching, then it will throw the error called element not found, right? So buy all is an extra special locator in Selenium WebDriver which help user to find the element based on the given locator. Locator could be any other type like ID, name, class name, all the locators, XPath, CSS, all this stuff. So buy locator tries to find the element using the first locator. If the element is not present, then it will wait for the given implicit wait time. Once it reaches the maximum wait time and there is no element, then buy all method tries to find the element using the second locator and goes on until it finds the element or there is no more locator. So that is the syntax. Okay. So let's give you some kind of example here. Let's comment out this part. Okay, suppose say remove it. I already declared the WebDriver is global variable, so that's fine. Let's go for some other page. Suppose I can go for some other page called Facebook. Okay, let's try to go for the Facebook page here. Just change it. So let's try to identify some element from Facebook. Okay, you could see here multiple options: name, ID, right, class, all this stuff. So I will be using that options, right, where definitely I can get it, right. So let's how you can use it. So it will be nothing but like kind of driver dot find element only, and here it will be new, then buy all. Okay, and then you can give all the reference one by one. By dot suppose say name, I can give it, suppose say name, whatever name you want to give it. So what is the name here? Name is email, ID is email. Okay, let's check. That is the one options, by dot name, right. Then I can go for the ID. Okay, then by dot ID here. So that's why I can go for that. Dot send keys. Okay, that is getting closed, that is getting closed here, that is getting closed. Then why it's not coming? I need to import it first. Send keys. How many is there? New, buy all. one is new by all by dot name, that's fine. I need to close with it, right? Okay, I think it will work fine. Dot that is one option. Find element only. Okay, by all by id. Okay, I don't think that here I need to give any reference. Yes, one thing, I think it should work now. Okay, driver dot find element new by all. Here I'm giving, after by all I'm giving first bracket by dot name, I'm giving it, I'm closing with that one, sorry, that is the mistake, so I'm doing it, yeah, dot send keys. Okay, so suppose if you want to give here something called test 1 2 3, you can give it. Okay, you need to close with this. Now you can see here it will definitely work. So we are giving, you can, that way you can give lot of reference. Okay, so instead of one element locator you can go for other. Okay, so let's check whether it's entering or not properly, then I will show you other way, right? So here you can give 3 4 5, so that in case it is not matching, it will go for the second or third and the consecutive way. Unless all the thing is not matching, it will throw error. Otherwise it will check for all the element locators options, whatever you are giving the value. So you can see it is entering it properly, right? Now say here your name is email, but I am giving it email 1, so definitely that it will not be successful, right? But here id is still successful. So that is the beauty of by all. In case you are having 3 or 4 option, in case 2 is not matching, it will go for the remaining one. In case none of the options value is not matching, then it will throw the error. So here email 1 should not match, name should not match, but id still holds good, so it should go for that options, right? And it should perform the operation. So that is the importance of that by all locator, right, in the Selenium WebDriver. You can use it where there is a probability of change something, right, very frequently. You can go for multiple options. You could see still that it will be able to click it, I mean enter the value. It's still working. Because it will wait for 30 minutes time, right, 30 seconds. So whatever implicit timeout you are giving, it will wait for that. So until it is found, then it will go for the next option. So that is the reason it was waiting for 20 seconds, and it is searching for that, right? So you can change it to 5 seconds, so it will only wait for 5 seconds. Okay, let's try to wait for 5 seconds, and within 5 seconds it will go for that options. So I already mentioned, whatever implicit timeout you are giving out, in case first option is not matching, it will try to identify that element with that element locators, and after that elapsed timeout, implicit timeout is elapsed, then it will go for the next option and sequence successive options, all the options one by one. So I have given it 5 seconds. So in case if the first option is not working, it will wait for 5 seconds, and after that it will go for the second option, it will enter the value, perform the operations. Okay, you could see it is immediately happening. But here in case say 2 option is not matching, right, so definitely then it will throw error, that it will wait for the 5 plus 5 10 seconds, and it will throw that error, that element not visible, not able to identify it, right? So that's why definitely, I mean for most of the project where there is a change probability that some of the attribute can change multiple volatile or frequently, you can go for that options by all locator. Okay, it will wait for 5 plus 5 10 seconds, then it will throw the error. Okay, it is okay, you can see after 10 seconds cannot locate element. because everything is email M1 and email 2. Then I will go for the next topic, is that how to select an options from auto suggest drop down in Selenium, right? I mean, maybe I have also have some trouble also to find out that particular problem. So that is the reason I did some analysis. After that I have able to successful. So maybe definitely that will not be used much, but still that is very important topics in Selenium. Even in the interview they will also ask question that how you can select an options from the auto suggest drop down, right? So while user navigating to any software website with the search box, whenever there is search box available, you are typing something, right? So definitely it will give you some lot of suggestion, but every time your suggestions pattern will change. Sometimes it is first position, sometimes it will go for the fourth position, right? So that's why in case if you want to click on the first position, you will not able to click you. Okay, so XPath pattern should be same for all the Ajax auto suggestive drop down list. So user need to use loop to feed that changing values to XPath of the drop list different items. Other one thing user need to consider is user do not know how many item is there in the Ajax drop down, right? Sometimes it can be 2 items, sometimes it can be 5 items, sometimes it can be 10 items, or sometimes even can be 1 item. Then how can you handle this? So let's go to the Google page where it is like the kind of keyword search keyword is there, right, in the Google page. Okay, let's go to the Google page first so that you can easily understand how the auto suggestive drop down works. Okay, let's go to the Google page and let's open the Google page here. First open the Google page. Suppose say I am entering here anything Selenium. Okay, then I want to click on the Selenium tutorial, right? Okay, so your or Selenium download. Okay, so you can see Selenium download is in fifth position, right? Suppose say now if you want to go for the download and if you click it again, and next time you again want to check the Selenium with the help of Selenium, you could see Selenium download is coming in the first position. Then how we can easily click on that option from the auto suggestive drop down? That is the question, right? So I already opened that page here. Now let's go to that search options. Let's inspect the element here. So what is the options? It's name with Q. I can search with the name of Q and I can enter Selenium. So driver dot find element by dot name, which is Q, and then I can use send key dot send keys and I can type here Selenium. But now I need to select either Selenium download or Selenium tutorial, right? Then how can I select it? So you could see all the options once you give something, right, Selenium, all the options will be coming. You need to select here and you need to go to any options, right? And then you could see here the class. You could see this is the span, okay? And this is the all class with the same name, okay? So with that, from that span, right, if you select here, right, you could see Selenium download is coming, right? So this is the class, this is the parent class you can create where options is there, role is option. So with the help of class I can create an XPath. So how you can create an XPath? Slash slash, tag name is starting with div and this is the class name here, at the rate class equal to XPath. You could see 1 out of 11, right? If you press 1, all XPath is all same. So this is the 11 options, you can get it. Okay, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all the same XPath, all the options whatever is displayed. So definitely I can store them with the help of that XPath whatever I have created, right? So let's store them with the help of find element, because lot of item is there, right? So definitely how can I store them? Driver dot find elements. Now what is the XPath? By dot XPath, and this is my XPath. Okay, and definitely as this is a find elements, right? You need to store in the list. So I could store all the list of web element here in the list web element, because return type is list only, list of web element. I need to import okay, here it will find elements, not element. Okay, I need to import list from the Java util package. I think then error message should be gone. Okay, list of web element. I need to give the variable name also, right? Offsets. Okay, then it will find. Then now if we want to get the size, how many size is there, right? So you can directly print it out, SOISO options dot size. Okay, that is the integer. So let's try to see whether that is showing 11 only, because here you are getting 11 options, right? 5 of 11. So okay, so you can get all the options here if you run it here. Okay, let's see whether how many options is there being displayed here. Okay, options. Okay, destroying one. Okay, so before clicking on that, maybe we can wait for some time, otherwise it will not give the correct one, because after waiting, after giving some Selenium one, right, it will take some time. That is the reason I should give some thread dot sleep to get the correct result. Maybe 3 seconds, 4 seconds, suppose say 3000 seconds I can give it. Okay, so let's run it again and let's see. Otherwise it will not work, because after entering the page, I mean the options will open, it will take some time. Okay, so that is the reason you should give some wait time. 2 to 3 seconds is fine. I think maximum 5 seconds is required, not more than that. Okay, you could see now it's 11, right? That is the only difference you need to make. After that, if you want to click on a particular option from the list, right? Suppose I want to click on the Selenium tutorial. So definitely you can go for an for loop here. So for integer I equal to 0, I less than, starting from 0, and it will go till the size. Okay, so it will be less than size and then I plus plus. And after that I will go for that loop, for loop, and here I will be giving some condition. If whatever options I am getting, right, options dot get of I, for each and every I will check if that get of I dot equals ignore case. dot get text, sorry, dot get text dot equals ignored case. I want to just ignore the capital or smaller word, equal ignored case, which is equal to Selenium download, or maybe Selenium anything. I want to just click on that option, Selenium download. Then what will happen, right? So that I will be clicking on that option. So I will be giving again another second bracket here. So I will be clicking on that option simply. So okay, so options dot get of I dot click dot click, and then I'll break the loop, because in case it is matching, I don't want to reiterate the loop, right? Sorry, loop. I don't want to continue the loop, so I'll break it. As and when my condition is matching, I will break it. So here first I am loading all the web element with the help of that XPath. I can get the size if it is required, or if I don't require, I don't need to get it. Okay. Then I am just reiterating a for loop where I am starting from 0. That is the reason I am going to size -1 or I less than size I plus plus. As and when my get iterating the get of I, right? Every I am getting the text, and in case my text is equal to Selenium download here, so I want to click on that option, Selenium download, right? So I will be clicking it, and immediately after that I will be not breaking out the loop, because I don't want to iterate it. So immediately it will be I will be clicking on that option. So that's why I can, right, perform an operations, right, whenever I am giving some value in the kind of box, right, search box, and it will giving me suggestion, and I want to click on the some suggestion. Definitely that is the way I can perform the operation. You could see Selenium download option is getting selected, and that next page is getting displayed. So that is the only options, right, with which you could definitely perform some operation from the auto suggestive drop down. Okay. So this is very very important. Sometimes in the interview also, maybe some interviewer might need to ask that questions from that area. The last topic for today, I will be continuing with that cookies part. So cookies you already know, right? Whenever you are navigating through some web pages, right? So definitely some sort of cookies is getting stored as your browser history. Okay. So cookies are files stored in the local computer containing information submitted by the website visited by the user, right? Whatever step by step you are performing the browser, you are navigating to the browser, everything should be stored in the browser history. That is called cookies. The information is stored in key value pairs, which is nothing but your hash map or hash tables, key and value pairs, right? And allows a particular website to customize its content as per the user. Every time the user loads the website, the browser sends the cookie back to the server to notify the website of the user previous activity. Cookies have specific lifespan defined by the creator. Suppose in case you want to store maximum 50 history, so definitely the old one will be automatically deleted and the new one, latest 50, will be stored, right? So at the end of this, a cookie become expired. Cookies often track information like how frequently the user visit, what are the times of visit, what banner they have clicked on, what button they have clicked on, what are the value they have entered, right? What are the preference, right? In case you are going for a shop kind of website, right, where you are want to buy something, right, you can get definitely view of the kind of shopping cart, all this stuff. So this allows the site to present you with information customized to fit your needs, instead of again launching the page, again navigating to the browser, all this stuff you can save it in the cookies, right? So definitely most of the time we also add the cookies, right, favorite thing, all this stuff we can manually store it. So cookies are domain specific. Example, a domain cannot read or write to a cookie created by another domain, right? This is done for browser of security purposes. And cookies are also browser specific. Suppose in case you are working with the Chrome browser, right? Whatever cookies will be stored, that you will not able to view it either with the Edge browser or the I browser. Similarly, I browser, whatever cookies is getting stored, it will not be visible from your Chrome browser because it is browser specific, right? So sub browser limits the number of cookies stored by each domain, maximum 20, 30, 40, 50 based on your settings. If the limit exists, the new cookie will replace the old one. Cookies names are case sensitive, right? So it's just like kind of Java. It will be also case sensitive. Small and capital words, you know what it will make difference. So these are the different methods available to handle the cookie. One is the add cookie. Second one is the get cookies. Get cookie name, delete all cookies, delete cookie named. Right? With the help of add cookie, you can add the cookie. Okay. And if you want to get the names only for a particular cookie, you can use get cookie named. Otherwise, if you want to get all the cookie, right, you can definitely use that get cookies. If you want to delete all cookies or delete cookie named, you can use those methods, delete all cookies and delete. So every time whenever you are opening any page, you can definitely use that delete all cookies. Okay, so that it will be very helpful to remove all the history, and it will definitely take less time to execute it. So before opening any page, right, I can use the delete all cookies options. So it will be nothing but the driver dot manage, okay, dot delete all cookies. Yes, that is the option, you can use it. So with which I can delete all the cookies, right? If I want to add some cookie, I need to create a object for the cookie class. Cookie equal to new cookie, and here I can give that hasmap format, right, key and value pair. Okay, so suppose say I want to give something called rediff. So that is my key, and the value is nothing but the URL here. So it will be same sort of URL kind of stuff I can give it. So here it will be only that part, okay, not the other part I can need to give it. So it will be www.rediff.com. That way I can add cookies, okay, and once I create the cookie object here, I need to use that add cookie method, right? So it will be cookie dot add, 1 second, cookie dot manage, one second, why it is not coming. Okay, sorry, driver dot cookie dot manage. It will be driver dot manage dot add cookie. Yeah, that is the cookie reference I need to give it. So that's why I can add the cookie. Similarly, if you want to add more cookie, you can add more cookies. So you need to change it to cookie 1, and you can change it to cookie 1. You can change it to suppose say Facebook, and here also is facebook.com. Now if you want to get one cookie, right, how you can get it? So in case it is only one cookie, right, so I can get it so here driver dot manage dot get cookie name, you can see here, and here a cookie named, you can need to give the cookie name here, definitely that is my name, and then if you press dot, you can get all the important method, right, get domain, get path, get value. Okay, so that's how you can get it. Let's try to run the code and let's see how it is behaving. Yeah, you could see the name of the cookie you are getting it, right? Similar way, if you want to get all the cookie whatever you have entered, right, you can get it. So you need to use some another one. So driver dot manage, then get cookies. I think that is the only option, get cookies, right? That is the option. You can see the return type is set cookies, so you need to use that one. So what is the return type? It is set cookies. So it will be set here, set cookie, and you need to use some variable called list of cookies. Okay, so that is the options. I need to import set interface from the Java util package. Then if you want to get all them, you can use for here, you can use the cookie class, right? Then enhance for loop, you already know. I'll be creating a new variable called cookie2, then double colon, and what is the cookie you need to get it, right? So that is my list of cookie I want to get it. Then second bracket so dot cookie dot cookie2 dot get name, right? And or get value, whatever you want to get, you can get it. Similarly, delete all cookies, definitely I already showed, right? Dot cookie2 dot get value. So that's how you can perform the cookie operation. Sometimes it's required, but I don't use much. But sometimes specific thing you need to deal with the cookie, you need to get all the cookie list, you need to see whether it's failing, right? So you can get with the help of automated script, right? So you can get what are the cookies already stored, what are the things already. If you want to delete something, if you want to get the list or delete all the cookies, you can perform the different cookies operation with the help of cookie class, and with the help of in case you are using a cookie class, right? You can get all the important method, which is nothing but the add cookies, right? Delete cookies, get cookies, right? Get cookie named, right? Or maybe the get cookies, delete cookie name. You can see here. Apart from whatever you have added, right? These are the list of cookie already stored here. So you can get each and every cookie's name and their value. Okay, these are the different cookies already stored here in my system. As you are getting it, right? Sometimes by default some of the cookies getting added, right? So in case you want to know some what is the thing is getting added, you can get it. And with the help of delete cookie, I already mentioned, you can delete all cookies. If you want to delete specific cookie, delete cookie name, right? And you need to give the cookie name only, so that cookie will be deleted from your system permanently. Okay, so it's browser specifics and it's case sensitive, so in case you are giving small or lowercase, it will be different. So with the help of add cookie, you can create and add the cookies. If you want to get multiple cookies, their name, value, path, all this stuff you can get with the help of get cookies. Specific cookies you can get it with the help of get cookies name. You can delete all cookies and delete a particular cookie with the help of delete cookie name. So that are the different topics which is really important for the Selenium WebDriver. I have tried to cover it, like frame. Until you are handling the frame, right, you will not able to identify the element, and definitely you will not able to perform the operation. So frame can be handled with the help of frame name, number, right, or that particular reference. It can be class or other stuff. Okay, capture screenshot is very critical part of your automation testing. It's though it does not matter whether test case is failed or passed, you need to always capture the screenshot, and definitely you should prefer to create a method which will be static in nature, and you can call them as and when required directly without creating object or instance for the class. This is the 3-step, right, process to capture the screenshot. Implicit wait, right, you can you apply for the whole web page, but explicit wait for specific particular condition you can use them. In case condition is matching, right, it will not wait for the complete time. Instead of that, it will just perform the operation before the time is also elapsed. In case that condition is not matching, it will wait for that maximum timeout. Okay, and headless browser testing, you can use the HTML unit driver, or even for the Chrome driver with the help of Chrome option you can do the headless browser testing. It will require less memory and will faster the execution. You will not able to visualize the GUI execution, but all the execution steps will be happen successfully. And with the help of locator, by all element locator, right, and you can give multiple web element locator reference, and definitely in case some of the reference is getting failed, you can go for the other one, right. It will check for the other one, and unless all the matching is unmatched only, then only it will throw the error. And with the help of right, that find elements, you can get to know how to interact with the list of options from out of suggestive options. And definitely this is the cookies method, right, important method: add, get cookies, delete cookies, delete all cookies, and get cookies name. Okay, that's all for today's session. Thank you.